Welcome to dNAxt. We are discussing Class B subnetting. And in Class B subnetting, today in this video, we are going to discuss slash 18. So slash 18 in Class B means there are 18. Whenever we say slash 18, the CIDR value of our IP address, when we say it's slash 18, that means 18 bits are assigned to the network. Now out of these 18 bits, 16 bits are of the major network. These are of major network, and remaining why we are saying that this is a major network, these 16 bits are of major network, because for class B default CIDR value is slash 16. So by default 16 bits will be there in the network portion, remaining 16 bits are assigned to the host. Now out of these 16 bits we have borrowed 2 bits to make it slash 18. From slash 16 we have borrowed 2 bits to make it slash 18. Okay, so for slash 18, 16 bits are of the network and 2 bits which are highlighted are also network. These 2 bits are the borrowed bits, hence they are sub-network bits or subnet bits. Okay, and remaining 14 bits are of the host. Now if we write subnet mask for this, it will become 255.255 dot. Now 2 bits are there, so 2 bits, the value of first bit is 128 and the value of second bit is 64, that becomes 192. So in third octet, the value of subnet mask will be 192, and the fourth octet, since all bits are 0, the value in the fourth octet is 0. So the subnet mask is 255.255.192.0. Now let's find out how many sub networks we will get. Since we have borrowed 2 bits, or we have 2 subnet bits over here in slash 18, the value of x is 2. So 2 to the power 2. So total we will get 4 subnetworks. How many hosts per subnetwork we will get? How many hosts we have? We have 14 host bits. 14 host bits we have. So 2 to the power 14 minus 2. Now what is 2 to the power 14? It comes out as 16,384 minus 2, as we subtract always the number 2 from the number of host. Why? Because in each subnet we have to assign one as a network ID and one will be your broadcast ID, which cannot be given. These two IDs cannot be given to your endpoints, and hence we always subtract number 2 from our number of hosts. So actual number of hosts that we will get in each sub network is 16,382. Okay, now as we have understood that we will get 4 sub network, so what will be those 4 subnetwork? So that we will find out with the help of what are the valid subnets over here. So valid subnets we get by using the formula 256 minus subnet bit value. The subnet bit value over here is 192, as we have 2 subnet bits, so the value is 192. The difference is 64. So we will get increment of 64. Now let's write down all these 4 network ID for 4 subnets. First network ID will be 172.16.0.0 slash 18. Second network ID will be 172.16 dot. Now there are 2 zeros, and since we are discussing class B, we have borrowed the bits from the third octet. The increment of 64 will take place in the third octet 4 octet will remain as it is, and it's purely host octet. So we are not going to touch it while writing your subnets. ठीक है, so 172.16.0.0 is your first subnet. 172.16.64.0, I'm repeating, we are making an increment of 64. Why 64? Because we got it from the formula that we have to subtract the subnet bit value from 256 to get the increment, or wo increment, that increment we are writing in the third octet. We are making increment in the third octet as we have borrowed the bits from the third octet. Okay, is this clear? Then 172.16.64 plus 64 will be 128.0/18. This is your third subnetwork, and the fourth one will be 172.16.192.0. ओके, व्हेन यू एड 64 इंटू 128, यहीं पे किया है हम लोगों ने, व्हेन यू एड 64 इंटू 1 टू 128 यू गेट 192. इसमें अगर आप 64 ऐड करते हो तो यू विल गेट 256. okay, which is not a valid number while writing your IP addresses, right? So ये हो गया आपका last sub network, और formula से भी हमको पता चल रहा है कि you are going to get only 4 sub networks. So we have already written 4 sub network. Okay, now let's look into these 4 sub network in detail. Let's discuss their broadcast ID and different valid host. So let's write down them one by one. Yes, so the first will be 172.16.0.0, 172.16.64.0. Just now we have discussed that increment will be in the third octet as we have borrowed the bits from third octet. I hope there is no confusion. Fourth octet is completely host octet. All the bits belong to host. So while writing network ID, we will be keeping it 0, because by definition, network ID is that ID where all the host bits are 0, right? And when all the host bits are 1 is your broadcast ID. So host octet will definitely will go as 255, 255, 255, 255, because by definition broadcast ID is that ID in which all the host bits are 1. So when you keep all host bits 1, you will get, in decimal you will get the value as 255. So bindas you can write over here 255 in broadcast ID, since this octet is purely host octet in case of this class B scenario. Okay, abhi now we have also discussed that आपका broadcast ID will be the previous ID of which next subnet का जो network ID है उसका previous ID will be your broadcast ID. So simply third octet में 64 है तो here it will be 63. यहाँ पे थर्ड ऑक्टेट में 127 है, so this will be 120, sorry, थर्ड ऑक्टेट में 128 है तो here it will be 127. Here it is 192, so you will write 191, and यहाँ पे it will be last number, that is 255. Okay, so these are your what? Broadcast ID of each sub network that you are getting in /18. Now let's write down first valid host. First valid host of the first sub network will be 172.16.0.1. See, not 1.0. We will always start from एक्सट्रीम राइट साइड. एक्सट्रीम राइट साइड में पहले 0 to 255 होगा, then and then only you will go from 0 to 1 in the third octet. Last video में भी we have discussed the example of your timer. When 0 to 60 आपका 59, 0 to 59 जब सेकेंड रोटेट होगा, then and then your minute will move from 0 to 1. Okay, in the same way in IP addresses 0 to 255 is the scale. When extreme right will rotate from 0 to 255 completely, then and then in the third octet there will be shift from 0 to 1. Okay, so 172.16.0.1 0.2 0.3 करके finally we will get 172.16.0.255. Then after this you cannot make it 256. So when 256 is not possible, last number आ गया यहाँ पे, then it will be 1.0. So 172.16.1.0 से लेके 1.255, then 2.0, 2.1, 2.2 से लेके 255, 3.0 से लेके 3.255, and then finally 63.0, 63.1, 63.2 करके finally we will get 172.16.63.255. इसका next IP address है 172.16.64.0, which is already in the second sub network. वो आपके second sub network का network ID है. तो this will be your last IP address, and we know that this is our broadcast ID. Okay, so first valid host is 172.16.0.1 and last valid host is 172.16.63.254. This is your last valid host. Okay. In the next subnetwork, it will be 172.16.64.1. Okay. Till यहाँ पे last valid host 172.16.127.254. आपके broadcast ID का पहले का IP address will be your last valid host. Here first valid host is 172.16.128.1 and last valid host is 172.16.191.254. Here the first valid host is 172.16.192.1 and the last valid host is 172.16.255.254. That's it. This is all about slash 18. We will be discussing slash 19 in the next video. Stay tuned with dNAxt. Thank you.